Hello, TrailManor people. This one is specifically for us. A couple weekends ago, I took on the project of making sure that these arms and the shell do not allow it to go too far forward. The way that typically happens is, at least in this 2000 model, there's a hunk of wood about here-ish with a rubber stop that prevents this right angle from going any further up. On my trailer, on the other side, that wood chunk actually broke and was going way, way far up, more far than it should be, basically overextending the front. And that caused some issues with this little retaining arm right here. It would basically get pushed too far forward, stressing out the welds and the metal here. So what do? Well, one option is to essentially rebuild the shell from wood to aluminum, and that would be a very extensive project on these older guys. Fortunately, TrailManor has created a pocket stop repair kit, which is what this is. It's a pocket, and it stops this arm from overextending too much. It's really just a nice little hunk of metal that looks somewhat like this. Now, it's thicker up top in the pocket to be extra rigid. And in here, on these little two arms that stick out, there are screw holes, and I'll explain that in a sec. But essentially, it goes in to replace the wood that was here. And the way that I and my neighbor fortunately installed it worked out pretty nice for us. So as you can see, I have this little pocket skirt cover missing here, and that's partially due to the way that we installed this. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is get this thing supported. I ended up getting a 2x4 from the hardware store and chopping it in half. So I ended up with a support about here and on the same spot on the opposite side. That allowed us to undo these bolts here, which hold the arm to the shell, and prop this up. So it was about here, and we pushed it up a few inches. How did we do that? Well, I have a spare corner jack, and we used a car jack on the other side. So that was a bit crazy and a bit stressful, especially for a windy day, but it worked out pretty well. So once that was up, these bolts are undone on both sides. These arms, we were able to swing forward and out, no problem. Naturally, you don't have these attached, and the bed was slid in just to make things a bit easier. Once you have that done, keep these someplace safe. I stuck them on the bed while we were working. You're going to want to stick a long screwdriver or something in there to pry off the rubber and the wood that is going to be up in this corner here. I was able to do that on this side, which was kind of nice. On this side where it was broken, I couldn't get the wood out, but fortunately it was already broken enough and being forced up high enough, I was just able to force it up even higher. So it worked out kind of nice. Let's see. After that, I was able to just slide this bracket in, slide it up, and it fits very nicely. You can get it pre-made from TrailManor. Mine was a little bit rusty, but hey, whatever. It's going to sit enclosed in an aluminum and styrofoam shell. Once you get that in, you're going to undo some of these screws holding this kind of cover weather strip down. Here's another screw. You're going to fold that out to get the metal underneath. Now, inside the square tubing that's here, there's actually a wood screw that I think it's like 2 or 3 inches goes up into the frame here. That's where the hole comes in use that I talked about before. That screw goes in through the hole to hold this in place. What I think is actually supposed to happen is that when you get to this point, I think you're supposed to pry the legs so these legs go into the square tube. But it was windy, I was getting tired, my neighbor was getting tired, so I just ended up leaving it flush with the square tube here and screwing the screw in that way and replacing the rest of these. I did it on both sides. Once that was in, we slowly dropped the shell, got this in place, found a couple washers to help prevent a little more flexing and bending of that metal outer shell, makes it look a bit cleaner, and put it all back together. Now, at that point, the front shell, which this side really was the problem side, as you can see from all of this being pulled apart here, this was still coming forward a bit. So we ended up with the peg here coming out about 2 inches too far. Now, I recalled reading in the forum somewhere that approximately 1/8 inch of the corner here, if you can visualize it, moving closer towards the, I guess, pocket area, is approximately an inch of travel forward and backwards for the shell. Remembering that, I grabbed a washer and some duct tape, and I taped that onto the corner here to give us about that 1/8 of travel or space in between the arm and the pocket. So what that would look like would be, here's the bolt, here is the arm, and in this spot here, in between the pocket stop and the arm, there was a washer that was put in right on the corner, and that seemed to work best for me in my case. Actually, in my case, I needed 2 washers for both sides, because even with the washer in here, I was still maybe an inch, half inch too far forward, and that was too much for us, because then the frame was still, or the shell was still sitting too far forward, and that wasn't that great. But getting the second washer on here helped out very nicely. As you can see, it used to be pushing this lever far forward, and now I am practically in line. All I have to do is push my shell in a bit to be secured sideways, and it doesn't even move forward at all. I've popped the shell up and down several times now. It does great. The door is now mostly aligned vertically, so we can actually use this now and open it. So next I need to spend some time reducing, I think, this clearance here to help keep, a little more air tightness, and also just to allow the door to open and close a lot better. Because if I open it, we get this, almost inch gap right here, and that kind of makes it awkward. But more tweaking, and we should be off camping pretty soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. This was a longer one, but it was an important one. Again, what ended up happening for me, I ended up stopping with this pocket stop right underneath this metal flashing. I don't think I'm going to really drill into the metal to get the little skirts back on. I would assume that the proper way to install them is to go, let's see if we can see into this square tubing, so it would go up about another inch in height, and then you could do the OEM style where you have a like nut that's welded onto the metal with a bolt, giving you much better control over the height. This just worked out for me. So thanks for watching. Happy trailering, and have yourself a great camping time. Bye now.